Alright, for program number one, essentially what the author is looking for on this lab test is for you to create a program that will create or compute the greatest common factor between two numbers. One of the keys to working this problem out is to understand exactly what you're looking for. And to understand how to solve a problem, it's really important that you be able to sit down and work it out on paper before you sit down on the computer. When you're looking for a greatest common factor, the first thing you need to know is what is a factor. And a factor is going to be a divisor. That is a number that's going to divide evenly into another number. Knowing that definition, that it's going to divide evenly into another number, I can use integers and the five mathematical operators that we learned in chapter 2. And I know that when I have two numbers that'll divide equally into another, I don't have a remainder. One of the things that integer division gives me is the ability to compute when I have a remainder. It's one of the most useful things, at least from my perspective, that you have with those five different operators. So for this first problem right here, the author is giving you two different numbers to compute what the greatest common factor. The first one is not going to be number 108. Now I could sit down there, and one of the ways that I learned, I think it was like in fourth grade, was to take 108 and just keep dividing up all the numbers until you get to the middle. 108 is going to be divided by 1 is going to be 1 and 108. So that would be one of the common factors for 108. 2 divided by 108 is going to be 54, so 2 and 54. I can take 3, 4, 6. All of those are going to go through there and multiply in, and they are going to divide evenly into 108 with no remainder. The same thing, I would perform that same analysis with 120. For 120, I can come back over here and do 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and so forth down the line. I got a couple extra common factors that are available for this 108 in addition to 36. I've got 54 and I've got 108. For me to go through there and do that a whole bunch of times would not be the most efficient use of my time, and that's where computer science comes in, is you can write a program similar to this to solve it for you. So for this one right here, I'm looking for which two numbers are the highest ones that are going to go through there. I've got 1, common to both of them, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, I've got 12 right there, and I'm looking for the one that's going to be common between the two of them. And for this one right here, the two common factors that go into 108 and 120 is going to be 12. Why is that important? Typically, if you're going to do any type of division or multiplication with fractions, or going through there and working with fractions, it's going to be important that you're able to put the denominator into the correct spot. So for this one right here, the greatest common factor is going to be 12. That's no new revelation because it's given you. The problem is going through there and creating the program. I wish I would have created this program back when I was in fourth grade and started working with programs, because it could have started working with fractions, because it could have saved me a lot of times. I could come back and create this one right here, and all of this information right here is given to you. The scanner keyboard is going to ask your user for the first number that you're going to enter in, and enter number 1, which is going to be 120, and then number 2 is also going to be 108. Those are going to be two of my different variables that are going to be listed out here. And since I need to go through there and be able to divide things out by 0, and I want to find out where my remainder is, I want these to be set as integers, and I'm going to use that extra mathematical operator that I normally don't use, and that's going to be the remainder division. My next one right here, and these are going to be the numbers that I'm going to temporarily store the values while I run through my do while loop. So the first one here is going to be number 2, and I've got the greatest common factor and remainder are going to be the two that I'm going to use to temporarily store values. The numbers for number 1 and number 2 aren't going to change, but as it runs through the loop, the greatest common factor and remainder are going to. And the secret to this one right here is to take a look at your do while loop, and you want to go through there and keep dividing number 1 by number 2 until you find the solution or the common factor where that's going to be equal to 0. So this one right here is going to go through there and keep dividing, running through this part of the loop, while the remainder of number 1 divided by number 2 does not equal 0. So taking a look at that, it's going to come back and it's first going to check my condition. If my remainder is equal to 0, it's going to kick out and it's going to give me my greatest common factor. However, while my remainder is not 0, it's going to come back over and it's going to do greatest common factor is set that value to number 2, and it's going to go through there. If that does not equal 0, it's going to come back and do the else statement here. and it's going to go through there and keep switching those two numbers out, so that the effect of what I'm doing is I am dividing 108 by 120, and I'm going to keep going through there and dividing those until I get to the point where my remainder no longer equals 0. For this one right here, when you run it, it will give me my answer.